is Joy News Prime.
Tonight on Joy News Prime, with some 78 days to the December election here on your election headquarters, New Patriotic Party outlines unfulfilled promises of the John Mahama administration. It says it's enough reason why the NDC does not deserve to rule Ghana anymore. Progressive People's Party sues Electoral Commission over 2016 election filing fees. Deputy Power Minister reports progress in efforts to resolve standoff over private sector participation in the Electricity Company of Ghana following intervention by the presidency.
Coming up in business, Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana keeps policy rate unchanged at 26%, citing current developments.
Thousands of disappointed clients of financial network companies in the Volta region petitioned President Mahama to help them retrieve some 36 million Ghana cedis they say is locked up with 7 institutions. My name is Israel and Joy News Prime is also available across Europe on ABN Television as well as on DSTV and GoTV. Stay tuned. Now, our first story, they promised a strike that would see thousands of public transport grounded, commuters stranded and the economy crippled. But as after the Commuter Drivers Association began their nationwide strike, the impact has not been as expected. The drivers are unhappy about the introduction of the bus rapid transit system, expected to start operations at the beginning of October, which is less than 2 weeks from now. Derek Akosam has been monitoring the impact of the strike and has come through with this report.
I've heard about this since last week, but we are working. We've never had any letter from our National Secretariat. Before we shall go any strike, we have to take a letter from our head before we can do so.
But when I came here on Thursday, I spoke to some of your drivers. They said that, well, though they were yet to get confirmation from their leadership, they would individually embark on strike.
Yeah, many of them are not here, so I believe that they have started that.
Okay, so it's more like it's a mixed bag. We have some drivers here who are working and some drivers who are not here.
Yeah, yes, we have them. Many are working. Yeah,
so looking at those who are not here and those who are here, which number is bigger?
Those who are out are bigger than those who are in.
So it means that some of your members are on strike?
Yeah, some members are on strike. But with the union head, we are not on strike. We are waiting for the letter before we can do any action.
Okay, so the union heads say they are waiting for a letter from their authority before they embark on strike. But you are one of the drivers here. Did you hear about the strike?
No, I'm not here about the strike. I'm not here about that strike. But since I'll hear the strike, I'm going to join them. From here, I'm not come back again.
What will happen to the passengers?
The government say you have brought the buses, so I have to take the buses to bring them.
But the buses will not start working until next month or maybe 2 months from today.
If the buses come, it's for our work. That's why even our cars is plenty. Now the work spoil and you're going to bring another buses. So you collapse the job.
But the government says that it is thinking about the people, so that when the buses come, the people can move to their workplaces, to their schools early, because the trot was delayed.
Before the government buses come, the people are not going to work. The students are not going to school. Which car are taking them before you thinking about them? The people are stranded about the bus. They are not stranded. We have already operated day and night to break them, to send them. So why is it going to break back to spare our work? I'm going to support my people.
So from here you won't work again?
No.
But you lose some money.
What? I'm lose some money. If you think about that, always they'll fool you. Okay. The government, if you think that the government is going to fool you, always.
Well, the Commuter Drivers Association has explained it only wanted to send a message across to the appropriate authorities to act on their concerns. Speaking earlier on the poll to Francis Aban, the chairman of the association, Charles Dansel, explained they needed about 5 years' notice of the BRT operations and also didn't see why a lane should be allocated to the buses because that may cause traffic and frustrate other road users.
if you say demonstration or strike, it is the message and not the impact that you want to feel as you. You are saying you didn't feel the impact. It is the message. You heard some of them. They were waiting to hear from the GPRTU authorities. And the GPRTU authorities, they are the people suffocating drivers, killing drivers. We are opening what they've put under the carpet. We are now opening it. You see, first of all, let me say, the government had wanted to bring the bus for his own work. And these GPRTU officials intervened that it will spoil their work. Then they went to sit down, and then now, as I'm speaking now, JRTCC, headed by Mr. Amoaben Pepra, and then the GPRTU, and then Protua Cooperative, they went to take these buses as work and pay. I don't need the buses. I don't need the buses. You see, they should let the system work. If you want to bring the buses, what you have to do is, you tell us, up to 5 years, I would never let trotro work in the system again. So that you accommodate all the drivers to where you want them to work before you bring these buses. We don't say the government shouldn't operate the buses, but you can't tell me you are giving one lane, those old lane, the 2 lanes, you are giving one lane to the bus to operate, and then we'll be stuck in the traffic.
Okay.
For you to frustrate us and then boot us out of road. But where this bus will pass, I charge down, so I'll also ply the same route, unless they kill me.
Deputy Power Minister John Jinapor has announced some progress in efforts to resolve the standoff between the Millennium Development Authority and the Public Utility Workers Union over private sector participation in the Electricity Company of Ghana. PU has kicked against a concessionaire taking over ECG with a number of industrial actions and protests. A series of meetings called by the Power Ministry to resolve the standoff has yielded very little. But Mr. Jinapor says there's been some headway since the matter was elevated to the presidency with the formation of a working committee.
We've had a series of engagements with them, the Ministry of Power, the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. It's met them at different points. We've made quite some progress. There's been some issues that have been ironed out, but the good thing is that the whole matter has been elevated to the level of the presidency. The Chief of Staff himself called a meeting of all the stakeholders. We had our maiden meeting, and we agreed to form a working team. And so all the various interested parties are supposed to send some representation. And I do know that PU is fairly represented, ECG is represented, MEDA is represented, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Employment. All of us are represented on that committee, and we are supposed to commence the engagement and deepen the process. And so I'm confident that going forward, we can be able to trash out almost all the outstanding issues. Let me concede that the PU workers have some legitimate concerns, and it's only proper that as a government we engage them, explain the issues, and then if there are teething areas, if there are some critical areas that all of us have to work on, we shall continue to do that.
Do we know how soon this will be resolved?
I do not want to put timelines. We're going to have our maiden meeting as a working group. And so let's have our meeting, let's agree on the roadmap, on the structure and the format in which we want to continue with that engagement. And I'm sure that we can deal with that.
The Electricity Company of Ghana is currently faced with a 200,000 cedi fine imposed by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission for a work stoppage as part of the workers' protest. Management says it is in no position to pay. Mr. Jinapor is, however, advising ECG to rather engage the PRC on how to settle the issue amicably.
PRC is an independent body. They have a role to play. Their actions are backed by law. Right, so I'm sure that they believe that it's within their remit to take that action. But beyond that, as I said, we have to engage each other. We have to build confidence. We have to build trust. And we have to ensure that we put the nation first. Because it's not about me. It's not about one person or the other. The most important thing is that we want a resilient working power sector. We want a power sector that is responsive to the needs of the people of Ghana. And so my advice to the staff and union of ECG is that let's remain calm, let's sit around the table and bring the issues to the table. And I'm sure that we shall surmount all the challenges that confront us.
Because what we're also picking up is that the ECG says they are not in a position to pay the money because it was not directly their fault. The 6,000 workers who laid down your tools on that day could not be replaced realistically.
I'm sure we can engage further. I mean, it's not the end of the road. If sanctions are laid and you have some concerns, I'm sure that you can appeal. And I believe that ECG is doing that. I don't think that the PRC is an intransigent body. I'm sure that they also are aware of the needs, and I'm sure that they are well vested with all the information. And so I believe that they will take that up, and then we'll see how we can resolve it.
Okay.
Staying with energy, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is threatening to sue the European Union if what has become known as dirty diesel refined for countries in Africa is not seized. The fuel, mainly sourced from Europe, is being blamed for several health complications and frequent breakdown of engines in African countries which import the fuel. Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Amwa, hinted though the regulator, the National Petroleum Authority, is finding excuses to dismiss the matter, it will not rest until this matter is resolved.
We have indicated previously, we are petitioning the European Union in a strongly worded communique that says Africans are also human beings. So you cannot have African standards that allows you to do, very high sulfur contents, whilst your jurisdictions, you would not allow anything above 10 ppm. We are doing 3,000, you are comfortable with it. We should kill ourselves, you are comfortable with it. You do not have any problem, but you will come and give Africans grants. We speak, Bost is quiet. One of the largest importers is quiet. As we speak, the NPA is still finding a way to make excuses for why we are not moving to the low sulfur level limits that the Ghanaian would expect to see. So indeed, it wouldn't just be the chamber, but I can assure you that the very major key stakeholder organizations also affected by petroleum issues. The AGI, candidly, wouldn't also be left off, Industries are affected. The GPRTU is affected directly if their engines will have to go for servicing every now and then. So we are not ready to change, but we will force and ensure that within the shortest possible time, Ghana moves away from the very high sulfur content diesel products that we have, which is destroying people's engines and destroying the environment. You can count on it that further and more pressure will be brought not only onto the policymaker but onto the system itself to ensure that there's the kind of change that Ghanaians are asking for. Most people are peeved on the streets. If you ask them, how come we are supplying, low-grade products, but if you check the pricing index, Ghana is even paying much higher than the United States, which is supplying ultra-low sulfur products.
Well, the National Petroleum Authority says it is taking steps to ensure that Ghana moves towards the low sulfur content fuel that is available in European countries. We're taking a break on Joy News Prime. We'll be back with more shortly. The Electoral Commission has suspended the voter transfer exercise at Kukum in the Brahafo region. This follows violent clashes between some supporters of the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party after the office of the NPP in the area was invaded by men believed to be supporters of the governing NDC. The clashes led to an official sustaining cutlass wounds. The Sunafo South EC office was also ransacked by the unidentified men, and some electoral logistics were destroyed in the process. Deputy Communications Director of the EC, Yusuf Ayuba, explains the decision.
The vandalism, caused a lot of damage in our offices, and the VSAT system that we use in doing all these data transfer and all, the voter management software that we use. That system has been vandalized. The equipment in the office, including laptops and other equipment, have been vandalized. So as we speak, the exercise has been suspended and a report has been made to the chairperson of the commission. We need to install a new equipment, and the that light and the VSAT system in the office before we can continue with the transfer. I'm not sure what modalities have been put in place. A report has been made to the Commission. The Commission will study the report, and based on it, the Commission would make a recommendation as to what next action or step we should take.
In another development, the Progressive People's Party has sued the Electoral Commission and government through the Attorney General over the fees set by the Commission for Presidential and Parliamentary Hopefuls. The defendants have 8 days from Monday, September 19, to respond to the suit. Policy advisor to the party, Kofi Samoa Sian, joins me on the telephone for more. Good evening to you, Mr. Samoa. Hello, sir.
Yes, good evening. I can hear you.
All right. So why exactly is the party suing the EC?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, we think that the fees charged by the Electoral Commission are too high. And the reason why...
Which of them? Is it the presidential or the parliamentary?
Both presidential and parliamentary filing fees. And the reason that the EC has unfettered powers to charge these fees is the absence of a regulation that must guide, as the Constitution uses the word, must govern the determination of these amounts. If you read the laws relating to these filing fees, PNDC Law 284 and PNDC Law 285, in fact, in PNDC Law 284, the EC is required to make regulation in determining the filing fee. In the case of 285 for presidential elections, they are supposed to announce fees determined by the Commission or directed by the Commission. We are of the opinion that these two powers conferred on the Commission constitute a discretionary power because it gives an unlimited opportunity for the EC to announce any figure at any time. So that is a discretionary power. We fast-track that to read Article 296 of the Constitution, where it states that the exercise of the discretionary powers must be in consonance with a constitutional instrument or a statutory instrument. That is missing in this discussion, and that is why we believe that the figures announced by the EC are arbitrary, unrealistic, capricious, and the court must so determine that, and also order the EC not to take such fees, since they are determined in the absence of this law, which is required by the 1992 Constitution.
All right, so typically if you file a suit like this, you're asking for an injunction. Has that injunction been requested or granted?
Well, we don't want to frustrate the process by filing an injunction. So this is a writ of sermons for the EC to respond to. But because we are part of the process of nomination, by 28th, by 29th and 30th of September, we need to file our own papers. We are considering the option of an application for an injunction on the nomination process if this matter is not disposed of quickly. We expect the Electoral Commission not to take too much time to respond to this matter. If there exists a CI we didn't know about, or an SI that we didn't know about, they should make it known to the court, and the court will determine the matter on its merit. By next week, we should be able to have a date fixed for the two parties to appear to make oral arguments for our case to be moved and upheld or dismissed or otherwise. But if we realize that there's feet dragging and there are processes that are introduced to frustrate us beyond the 29th and 30th September deadline set by the Electoral Commission, then we will introduce the injunction application. And I think that it would be fair for a judge to grant that, because we cannot proceed to pay the fee that we are challenging its legality at the same time.
All right, thank you very much. Kofi Asamoah-Sian is policy advisor for the Progressive People's Party. And staying with the party, its flag bearer, Dr. Pakwesi Indom, has reiterated his commitment to form an all-inclusive government if elected president in the December 2016 general elections. Targeting 3 personalities, some with deep political affiliations, Dr. Indom threw an invitation to former MPP presidential aspirant and respected cardiologist Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng. He also wooed CPP Vice Chairman Susan Edouard-Mankwa and successful entrepreneur Dr. Kofi Amoah.
Progressive People's Party, we are inclusive in nature. It doesn't matter whether you are from the north or the south, you are Christian, you are Muslim, you went and supported NDC, MPP, CPP, BNC. When we come to power and we want somebody to do something, if you are the right person, we'll give the job to you so that Ghana can benefit. Standing here to call them to come and work together with us. I want to ask Susan Edouard-Mankwa, CPP, she should come and join us. She should come and join us. She should come and join us. Dr. Kofi Amoah, he is an independent. He should come and join us. He should come and join us. There's a doctor who is an excellent Ghanaian, a patriotic Ghanaian, Dr. Frimpong Boateng. He should come and work with us. He should come and work with us. We want everybody to come and work with us. Whether you are NDC, MPP, CPP, BNC, all of you come together, work with the Progressive People's Party so that this country can benefit. That is what we want. That is what the Progressive People's Party, that is what we want.
Staying with politics, the opposition New Patriotic Party has questioned the governing NDC's ability to fulfill promises captured in the incumbent in its manifesto launched over the weekend. Addressing a news conference, policy advisor of the MPP, Boakye Ejiakun, said the NDC could not be trusted owing to the failure to achieve similar promises made in the past. The policy advisor said the NDC government over the past 8 years has worsened the living conditions of Ghanaians through high electricity tariffs, frequent power outages and inflation, which has made it difficult for Ghanaians to survive, contrary to the government promising to put the people first.
It is not surprising that their greatest achievement in this sector has been the creation of ingenious schemes to facilitate the stealing of over 1 billion Ghana cedis from the sector and sharing this loot among themselves and their cronies. With John Mahama's track record, the MPP cannot fathom how the unemployment situation will improve under a future Mahama-led government. It is this outright theft from the public purse, fiscal indiscipline, reckless expenditures, mismanagement of our finances that has presented President Mahama with the unenviable record of being the only leader in Ghana's history to superintend over 3 back-to-back double-digit fiscal deficits. Today, the relative but shaky stability that the president claims we are seeing has been made possible because of the IMF bailout. This simply confirms President Mahama's incompetence and a lack of vision. Ghanaians elected him to do a job. He has failed miserably. He then called on the IMF, who made him agree to all kinds of conditions before they offered their help. Now Ghanaians have to endure hardship and suffering brought about by the austerity measures of the IMF. After all, President Mahama agreed with the IMF as one condition of the bailout to lay off public sector workers starting from 2017. The 2015 agreement report spells this out clearly, and I quote, "The government will undertake, with the assistance of development partners, a comprehensive plan to rationalize the size and increase the efficiency of civil service and allied services on the payroll. The related strategic plan will be ready in December 2015, the results of which will inform the actual rationalization of staff, which is expected to begin in 2017. You may refer to the 2015 IMF country report number 15/103, page 17, subheaded Civil Service Reform. Rationalization is another way of saying retrenchment, layoffs, or downsizing. Whichever way you call it is the same difference. Go home. People will be laid off. What this simply means is that the current freeze on employment in the public sector will not be lifted to give jobs to Ghanaians. Instead, the grand plan is to rob public sector workers of their jobs in 2016.
The governing National Democratic Congress has revealed in its 2016 manifesto it will establish 5 geographical development authorities for accelerated development of the country. Though this generated some controversy over whose idea it was, because the NPP's flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo mentioned it earlier that it will create 3 development authorities when voted into power. The NDC insists the idea does not belong to any particular party. So as part of our coverage of Everything Election 2016, we're probing why the need to create geographical development authorities when there exist agents of development. For instance, the Central Region Development Commission, SEDECOM, and the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, SADA, have generally failed to meet their target. President Mahama revealed they will create member of parliament. They will create some more of these development authorities. Francis Adai Nimu is a development expert. He says authorities must have specific mandates they can deliver on, or the MMDA should rather be strengthened to do that work.
It is not a question about the creation of public institutions, which will end up being bureaucracies, but how we can strengthen the existing public institutions which are mandated to deliver certain developmental needs of our country. The proposed 3 authorities, Kota Zone Development Authority, Middle Zone Development Authority, and then the Savannah Zone Development Authority. What core functions are they going to play that will be so special for us as a country and ensure the development we have? In terms of infrastructure development, there are existing public institutions. Let us take our road network, for instance. We have Ghana Highway Authority, which is existing. We have the Department of Feeder Roads, which is existing, and Department of Urban Roads. They are mandated to look at the conditions of our road network, to develop them and to maintain them. If you take the water sector, we already have Ghana Water Company, which is responsible, as well as the Community Water and Sanitation Division, which is responsible. So if you propose to set up 3 different authorities, geographically dividing the country into 3 zones, they may end up being white elephants or white bureaucracies that may not offer any developmental needs to our country.
But will this have to come to Parliament for approval if government is to set all of these up? And if it will, what kind of chance is there that it can be stopped at that level then?
Well, I mean, you know the parliamentary system, how it functions, and with the majority and with the minority. And as I even indicated, the proposed 40-year development plan has not come to Parliament to be legislated on for it to become law. And if it becomes, that all the political parties can look at it and develop their manifestos from that framework. But as it is now, it is so flexible. Some can look at what the framework is and develop some ideas from there or not. But when it comes to Parliament, I think that at that level, we will look at it and see the best approach to you.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has maintained the policy rate, the implications, and why they decided to leave it at that. Emmanuel Wajiri is here, and he's going to be telling us all about that. Good evening to you, Emmanuel.
Good evening, Izzy. How are you today?
I'll leave you to do
it.
it.
Thanks a lot. And thank you for joining me on Business. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Abdul Nasiru Isahaku, says current developments in the country support government's claim that the economy is turning around. The governor said this when he announced the Monetary Policy Committee's new policy rate in Accra. There's more in this report.
The governor's response follows concerns that rising inflation rate, public debt and expenditure cast doubt on the finance minister's assurance that the economy is on the path to recovery.
Outlook to inflation, and prices generally. And the same traders, consumers are telling us that they expect inflation to come down. That's what they are telling us, that they expect inflation to come down. And we have factored that into our forecast. One of the considerations, we do a survey, what they think about general level of prices going forward. And they are telling us that they think it's going to come down. And we factored that into our computations. And when you couple that with, the ongoing fiscal tightness, consolidation, where the policy stance is now, we expect, the horizon to move inwards, to the second quarter to meet our target. So that's basically what it is per our own assessment.
On the cedi, the governor noted that the local currency could even appreciate strongly against the dollar on expected inflows. The governor also spoke about why the loans the banks fear might go bad is still high, despite recent payments of energy sector debts.
The issue of the MPL, we've said this over and over, it's largely on account of exposure to the energy sector that has lifted it up to 19.1.
The establishment of more chip compounds in the 66 coastal district of the Western region by the Jubilee Partners has contributed to saving the lives of people in the remotest parts of the region. Under the program, well-trained community health assistants and volunteers are deployed to the communities to provide timely and basic health care support for the people of the Western region. Correspondent Kweku Superbra has more.
Access to healthcare in the hardest to reach areas in the Western region has been remarkably improved, as more than 500 communities have now functioning CHIP centers, which has brought timely but basic health services to the residents. Through home visits and periodic center visits, communities are served and educated on the basic health issues, sanitation, and supported to adopt healthy living practices, which have saved a lot of lives in the remote communities.
Because of the CHIPS compound, you have been visiting them, educating them the need for them to go to a clinic when they are pregnant, then to take their drugs. We give them a lot of education, and because of that, the lives of the people have been changed. And now when somebody is pregnant, that person gets to know that, no, it is time I have to go to a clinic to see for medical care.
Through the support of the Jubilee Partners and Japaigo, community health officers and community health volunteers have been trained to provide life-saving services in the impoverished communities where the nearest health facility is sometimes several kilometers away. Kofi Blay has been working as a community health officer at Nyamebetre for the past 4 years.
Because of the home visits, those who have not been going for weighing and other things, you go, you find them. Those who are due for vitamin A, we give them. And then those who are not going to, when the time is due, we call them or you visit them in their house, then you provide the necessary vaccine that they need. And this has helped so much that the people are so happy with the work that you're doing. Besides that, when people are sick, at first they have to travel for very long distance. But now somebody can even pick the phone and then call me to come to the house to take care of the person. And the people are so proud of such activities.
Through the CHIPS program, outpatient attendance in the communities have increased tremendously. Again, more families have accepted family planning concepts, with more children getting fully vaccinated against the childhood killer diseases. Dr. Apia Dentra is the Director General of the Ghana Health Services.
Well, basically, we bring in relief to the people in the remote areas. Somebody comes to them who is staying with them, teaches them how to prevent disease. There are certain disease people do not know how it's caused, but somebody is with you and teaching you. The person also links you up to the next level of care. And the person has also been taught how to manage the conditions. And I see that it's very good. We are aiming at getting all the electoral areas, 6,500 electoral areas covered. Now we've covered 4,000. And we're expecting that if we have covered 6,000, then the mortality of mothers and children will drop drastically.
Community folks within the 6 coastal districts of the Western region have fully accepted the collaborative work of the Star CHIPS project, with the chiefs and elders in these communities providing support for workers in the CHIPS compounds to function well.
Ya Santa no eme hospital bia. Nti ni abrewo hospital apomden ho. Nti kama kuma mama am dim sika 2,500, which is 250 million. Na am sit down kronum. And I'm a DBA chip company. I'm salary 50 million. I'm salary cotton no me dibegu kenekumu. Na fedia me ya na Star CHIPS for ni jipago for. Ombo so ma omubi hospital na mama asisia ma fam found.
Japaigo and the Jubilee partners believe every life which has been saved gives meaning to their investments as partners.
My name is Karen Caldwell. I'm the country director for Japaigo. Because Japaigo has worked in Ghana for more than 20 years now, working to improve the lives and health of women and children in the country. For us, this was a natural partnership because really at the community is where you're going to help save the lives of women and children. That's where the impact is. And so our contribution was in the form of training health workers, training community health management committees, working with management teams at the district and the regional level, providing equipment to CHIPS compounds, and making sure that all of the necessary elements to make CHIPS function are in place.
Without the work of the funders and the hard-working community health workers, several thousands of people would have died within the 5 years in communities like Nyamibetre, Akwadai, and Angunakrum here in the Western region. Kwaku Owusu.
Right, it's time for sports. Gary Al Smith is here. Good evening to you, Gary.
Hey, Israel.
How are you?
I'm doing well,
and
thank you.
How's the weekend for you?
It was all right.
So, Wow Stars, they've been
given the trophy.
They've been given the trophy. Apparently, they went on a float.
Yeah, in the Upper West region.
In the Upper West region. Great for them. I'm really happy for them. And I heard your interview with is it
the general manager?
Yeah, the general manager of the club, and he was saying people shouldn't attempt to take away from what the boys, the effort the boys,
what they've achieved
into the game, because people are saying that it's a club that's apparently Kwesi Nyanti is a GFA.
He's the bank ruler.
And so, some things were probably.
I mean.
Anyway, you take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Israel. And thank you for joining us on the Sports on Prime. Hi, I'm Gary Al Smith. So, we have our champion. We have those who have been relegated. If you've not been following the news, Techiman City have also joined Neo DBRC as those teams that have been relegated from the Ghana Premier League, together with 2nd D Hazard. However, there was some interesting bad news. One Adriana Stars fan yesterday was found dead after the Week 30 clash against Inter Allies. And here you're going to hear the voice of Evans Opon, who is a Joy Sports correspondent, to tell us what happened.
This is a supporter
Musa, who belongs to the drumming group of the club. And what really happened was that yesterday he was very vociferous, drumming, dancing to support the club so that the club will win for Techiman City to survive in the Ghana Premiership. And he did his. But later, after the game, that he was found collapsed on the ground of the fort. Supporters tried to rescue him. I mean, the normal thing that is always done when someone collapsed and pouring water on him. They tried their best for the past 15-20 minutes. So he was not rescued. It was later that the fire service was called to bring their ambulance to take him to the hospital. And you all followed the story to the hospital. And later he found out what he found out was that the doctor said he is dead. He was pronounced dead at the arrival of the hospital in about 10-15 minutes. And we assisted them and we took him to the mortuary. And in fact, at the actual cause of the death, the doctors couldn't confirm it to us. To them, we are not a relative of disease, and they can only confirm the death of the relative when it's an authorized person from the family.
So Aduana Stars came second after this league season, after going all the way and pushing Wa All Stars, the eventual champions. Now the coach of the victorious team, Enos Adepa, says they are focused on building a big, strong team for the CAF Champions League, of which they will represent Ghana next year.
Well. I think we have a lot to work about. Even if not the next season, even targeting the Africa. I think we have to let Africa be the ultimate target, so that we can have a very good preparation through the league before we enter into the Africa. So we have a lot to do, and I think we'll work around the clock tactically to see how best we can shape the team.
And that's it for the bulletin indeed. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Israelai, and you have a good evening.
This is Joy News Prime.